You guys remember this saw? We had the completely locked up motor, right? Well, it's locked up. Remember it's locked up because there's a bolt stuck up in there. Right? So it's not, technically, it's not yet a locked up saw, as far as we know. One cool thing this Steel does on their saws, I believe Husky does it too. Your smaller nut, smaller socket for your scrunch, or your chainsaw wrench, will indefinitely fit the nut on your flywheel. It fits right over there. And because this flywheel is totally shot, there we got our bolt out. Now, this bolt, you can see where this bolt is really shot. There's nothing good left about that bolt. One really good thing here, guys, this thing has sick amounts of compression. I mean, for a small saw, it's really good for how old it is. So that's a good thing, right? It's going to be worth it to keep going on this and see if we can't fix it. The damage, I mean, there are fins up inside the jug that are bent from that bolt. They're actually bent. They're not just damaged. I mean, yeah, we all do dumb things, but geez, you know, stubbornness. I can't get to anything. I thought it was going to be simple, but now we need to stick some wedges in. Love using tubs or boxes, little food boxes. To keep things organized. It's nice to have everything organized and clean. It's a lot faster to get things done.
This helps too. This is really nice. That's just a star driver. Right? You just have to match your driver to whatever kind of bolts you have. These are all star nut or star head bolts. If autofocus, you see it. You see it anyway. We have a magnet. Right? Picking out bolts. Right? It keeps my workbench really clean. I like a really open, clean, organized workbench. So we know we're taking all this out. You have to take all this out to get to the coil. It's not. This is the big difference between these saws and the cheaper ones. The cheaper ones actually, you know, this is the older style air filters. I kind of dig them. You just have to keep them clean. It's just a screen. It's not a... It's not...
So I'll tell you guys now, in that white box is an aftermarket coil. What wound up happening here is the aftermarket coil was completely wrong for the saw, so I had to go to another shop and look for a coil or a complete part saw. Remember all this from the other video. If you watch the other video, don't bend them. Just be careful. Somebody actually tweaked that one a little bit. That's why I was having a time getting it out. I don't know why they would have tweaked it unless they were just a rough mechanic and they bent it when they were putting it back in. Right? It's all about finesse, guys. All about finesse. We're just ripping this sucker apart as fast as possible because you've seen this. Saw this in the other video. Same song, different verse, I guess you could say. Get rid of that. I don't even need those dust boots on there. All those dust boots do is collect dust. That's all that they do for me. Sometimes you can push the fuel line off with your finger, but it's better if you need a tool to do it because that means it's fitting nice and tight. If you can do it with your finger, you may need to replace it. Now, one thing that I didn't show you in either this video or the other one, sometimes if you've got fuel in the tank and you don't want to take it out, or you don't have an extra fuel cell to put it in, and it's flowing, as soon as you disconnect it and fuel starts coming out, just very gently thread one of your bolts from your saw into there. Just don't go real hard on it, just enough to stop the fuel, because you don't want to weld this out and make it bigger than the nipple on your carburetor. You want it to still fit there tight. It's connected in two more spots. We have a wire going in, and then we have our spark plug wire, which is going to ultimately get disconnected because we either need it for the new unit or we need to replace it with an old one. Now, we are connected here, and this is the tricky part, because that boot, you do not want to hurt that boot. So this is where we need to stay clean and calm. Clean and calm. Clean, calm, collective, the 3 C's. Just very gently, don't poke a hole in that boot. Every time I do this, I'm scared. Am I scared of things? Yes, I'm scared of putting a hole in this boot or tearing the edge of it. Why? Because they're hard to find. They are hard to find. If you order a new one, you're going to wait for months, and you're probably going to spend a lot to get a new one. Now, the boot is loose. I'm not going to keep poking at it and messing with it. This guy I want to pull off of here. All of our wires and connections for our coil. This one's being a little bit difficult. Sometimes they stick. And need a little bit of persuasion. You just want to be careful that you're not breaking or bending stuff completely out of style. Completely out of whack. So all of this is going to come out as we pull the handle. There, everybody. All right, I'm gonna hang that there. Now, the only thing I don't like about this deal is the handle flops around, so I'm going to drive a bolt back in it. And you only need the one because this one goes in the orange case. This bolt hole goes in the orange case. This one goes into the white case.
So, I might need to when I pull the carb, or when I pull the coil, but guess what? I really don't need to. So these wires...
So this is why I've made this video only of the disassembly of this saw, because there were some things that I wanted to explain here that are pretty important when you're taking the saw apart, and because I got the wrong size coil, I had to wait to make the other half of the video. And the video, unless completely sped up, there's just too much going on, too much information. It's really long video. This I thought had one of these nibs. I thought I could pull this, save this wire. This wire goes underneath your yellow ground wire. Your yellow ground wire connects back to your jug. Okay? That's the easiest thing to remember in the world. Yellow ground wire connects back to here on the jug. Yellow ground wire goes on top of the ground wire for the coil, right? So everything, you're forming a complete loop to shut the saw off. When there's not a complete loop, there's no disruption. It's energy just flowing through. Now, this coil is completely toast. This is what happens when you run the saw forever. I mean, this is not supposed to taper out. It's supposed to be the same width here as it is up here. Hopefully, get this flywheel off. No, I'm trying not to. Oh, there she goes. That's not advisable to do that unless you have had lots of practice. Now, this is the cool part here, because if you watch my other video, okay, you're going to see me talk about, this is a bolt-in motor. Look, see the difference between the case and the motor? The motor is an entirely separate unit. That's what they call a short block. When they say short block, your short block is your entire unit. Okay. Please join us next time, and we will continue rebuilding the saw and work on the carving after I get the saw up and running and after testing it out a little bit. Here I just got a little bummed out with having the wrong coil, so I decided to cook for the rest of the day and do a little bit of carving. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.